静かなり岩尾が来たる苔衣小春の光糸いたるかも。
Hello, this is Photography Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I'm revisiting the photo mode in Ghost of Tsushima. I'll be demonstrating how you can create cinematic shots using a combination of Kurosawa Mode, black borders, and a few of the other settings. If you don't know who Kurosawa is, Akira Kurosawa was a Japanese film director and screenwriter who directed 30 films during a 57-year career. He's widely lauded as one of the most influential creative minds in the history of cinema. Kurosawa is most commonly known for his film Seven Samurai, a film that heavily influenced Ghost of Tsushima. So, how do you activate the Kurosawa mode and what does it do? Well, you go to the pause menu and in the settings you'll find an option to turn Kurosawa mode on or off. Basically, it turns the image black and white, adds grain and also film effects as to resemble the old cinematic films before the super smooth modern film era. Now you might think, why would I want to turn the colour off in such a vibrant game? Well, one thing Kurosawa Mode does is it makes you see the world in black and white, and that's a really good method of improving your eye for black and white photography. The more you explore, the more you'll understand what sort of things work well in black and white and also what things don't. So I'm going to take a few shots using this method and talk you through the process and my thinking behind each shot. Okay, here's the first shot. Now, we've got the grass, we've got a nice clear sky, so we're going to not silhouette the main character, we're going to get a nice side shot with moving grass, maybe play around with the effects and see if we can get a nice black and white bordered shot. Okay, framing wise, this is full screen, but what we really need are the borders. So we'll put the cinematic borders. Now cinematic borders narrow the image, so that means you've got to recompose within a narrow frame. It's a little bit tricky at first, but it just means you've got to kind of zoom out a little bit more really. So I like that position with the sword, the wind moving the clothing. It's got a nice kind of prelude to action feel, but I'm not really keen on the sky, so I think we should change, let's change the time of day. It's not right. We need maybe have a tweak of the weather, I think, perhaps. Let's just change the framing a little bit. Okay. See how the time of day will change it. We want to make some dynamic shadows. That's quite nice, maybe. We still haven't quite got the framing right here, but we're nearly there. So again, I'm framing left to the left hand side. Let's change the weather, see what we've got. That's interesting. Maybe there's a better one. Yeah, I think that. See, with black and white, it's just finding the right composition. A bit of cloud there works well. I think that's we're almost done actually. It's kind of nicely positioned. What else should we do? So you can turn the animation off, but I think with the animation we'll leave that on there because it's a much nicer effect. Change the expression. I think I'm quite happy with that. Let's have a look. Nice composition, nice framing. Yeah. So that's just a nice action shot, black and white, bit of cloud, bit of moving grass, so it's got a nice feel to it. So that's the first one. Let's have a look at the next option. Okay, so nice bit of shadow work there. I've been trying to get the framing on the horse and the shadow, but it's just not working, so I'm going to scrap and abandon that. So I think we're going to recomposition. So we've moved slightly. There's some nice sunset going on. There's an island, there's a bit of water, so I'm thinking head and shoulders, close shot, little bit of blur perhaps, and just got to cut in with the focal length. So again, we're using this like a zoom. I think we want to get rid of the horse altogether in this shot, so it's just about finding the right angle. Not quite there yet. Depth of field, yeah, we don't want everything in the background in focus. We want to like have a little bit of a haze to it to give it kind of a mysterious feel to it, I think. That's good. Yeah, we just sort of rotated it a bit. Okay, we're nearly there. Look at the framing is much better now. See what I mean? It just feels more balanced. Sun, tree, island, water, main character to the side. Tweak the aperture, maybe turn the exposure down a bit to give more of a silhouette feel to the main character. We're not far off. It's just, again, this is like tweaking. Now I'm looking at the things in the background like the boat. I don't want the boat just under the nose maybe, because that's why I've blurred it, because it will look weird. This would probably look nice in colour as well, actually. Only problem is you can't turn Kurosawa mode off in the photo mode. That's one omission the developers might want to have a look at. But this is a very thoughtful stance, very sort of like interesting pose. So like I like the sun there. This is really sort of contemplative, thinking about his journey. That looks like a sort of place you'd do a haiku in the game, where like it's a really fantastic game if you've never played it. But okay, this is just me being anal now with the kind of the framing. So I'm probably going to try and get the eye line 2/3 up in the narrow frame. Again, this is just micro adjustments until I feel completely happy with it. Maybe could zoom out. No, I think. Okay, I think we are almost there. Clouds. I think we'll leave. Well, we could move them a bit, but there's not really much effect there. What can the weather do? Fog's a bit much. We want the sun in the shot, so okay. I think the current weather's the best option. I think we're done. Let's have a look. Very nice. Nice, moody, atmospheric, calm, kind of like contemplative. So let's see what we can do next. Okay, this is a very nice, beautiful shrine. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. Like, we could use the tree, we could use the shrine, but it is a difficult position, like angle-wise, because we've got lots of stuff going on and it's kind of difficult to frame everything. So we might actually just, let's look at the side angle. Let's see what's over here. We've got nice light on Jin, so there's interesting trees, looks like blossom. Let's sort of get a side profile. Might be a little bit tricky here, so we might have to have a look at what's behind our character, because here I think it's a little bit too busy. Because you don't want things sticking out of the face of the character, it just kind of looks a bit odd. There's a little bit too much noise going on, too many objects. Let's see what else we've got around here. Okay, immediately I'm looking at, there's a guy in the hat. He looks interesting because he's in the distance. You don't know who he is. There's a mystery factor, and we could almost silhouette that character. Just have to get a bit of framing going on here. I think the light is also too strong on Jin's face, so we need to move the sun. Probably lower the exposure, probably drop the wind speed a little bit because it's a bit over the top. Framing wise, I like that though. That's kind of mysterious because Jin's kind of deep in thought, and then there's this sort of slightly blurred out figure. So we've just dropped exposure a bit. We've made the background a little bit more blurry. So it's even more mysterious now. So it's very kind of cinematic. What should we do? We could zoom in just a touch, but we don't want to go too much more zoom on that. Time of day. Okay, weather. Let's have a look at what we've got. I think we need bright sunlight just to emphasize the character more. Well, the fog's quite nice, but then I think current weather is probably, or thunder, current. We'll just have to change the time of day if we need to adjust it. So like I said, you can move the shadows with the time of day. That's quite nice. That's very atmospheric because you've got a side light. It's obviously we don't want all that rubbish, so let's something with the light strong on one side. Like that. That's a nice shot. So very atmospheric, very sort of like a cinematic feel because you've got two characters. One's in focus thinking, the other one's mysterious like a sort of an assassin or something in the background. It's kind of weird. Yeah, pretty happy with that. I think that looks nice. I think it's got a nice atmosphere, nice sort of composition. Maybe we'll drop the wind speed just a little bit because like I said, it was a bit too much. So I think that's it. I think we're done. That's probably my favourite, the one we've done out of the three. Very nice. So let's do one quick example more and we'll wrap up. Okay, we're by the lake. I think we're going to do another sort of portrait, maybe using trees, use a bit of wind perhaps. But I mean, you can see from what we've been doing, is like composition is important, especially when you're doing cinematic stuff. If you watch films, you'll notice that most of the framing is not central because central framing is kind of restrictive. Framing one thing to one side and then having a background or having something else to the other side, it feels more balanced, it feels more like a story. That doesn't mean you can't put people in the center, but if you want to create a filmic, cinematic type style, then you have to kind of look at cinema and look at why do things feel better in cinema sometimes than photography, because they have a thicker atmosphere. It's all about context. Like here we'll go time of day with a nice bit of light, but again it's just trying to frame things using the borders, so you've got a narrow frame, and using the black and white so that it feels like something you would see in a movie, like a shot in a movie. And again, with black and white, it's all about contrast. So look at these weather effects and the sunlight. You want to create something that's snappy, that pops out. Because if it doesn't pop out, black and white kind of is redundant. Like you can see TV shows or films that use black and white in one episode, but it doesn't really look any different because they didn't shoot it intentionally to be in black and white. So it's just a color image they've taken the color out of. The best black and white stuff is the stuff that you specifically shoot in black and white with a black and white mindset, because then you'll get better stuff. Contrast, heavy shadows, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So I think we're done there. Let's have a look at a few other examples and wrap it up. Okay, so that's a short showcase of Kurosawa Mode. It's a great mode if you want to learn how to take black and white shots. Personally, I do love black and white photography. I do like the old film style, so it's a very cool mode to use, as you can see from those shots. Very moody, very atmospheric. It is a challenge because you've got a frame within borders. That's also something I added to it, but really useful, and it's also good for your understanding of how colour works, even when colour is not in the image, because black and white images are still affected by colour. Because the colours are there, it's just the tones, so you can understand which tones work well, which ones don't. So I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you found it informative. If you have any suggestions for future games or topics you would like covered, please add those in the comments. But for now, I'll leave you with some words of wisdom from Kurosawa and a few more examples of Kurosawa Mode. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Thank you, see you next time.